I spent over 40 hours testing every single video tool instead of Google Flow, so you don't have to. In this video, I'm going to break down all 10 of them. I'll show you exactly how to use them and explain their best use cases so you know exactly which tool to use for what. Make sure you watch this video all the way through because I'll be sharing some vital information that will literally save you from losing hours of progress. I've also added timestamps in the description, so if you're looking for a specific tool, you can easily jump right to it. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping a lot more AI related content like this. And if there's a specific feature or workflow or tool you want me to cover, let me know down in the comment section. All right, let's get into it. I've gone ahead to generate some assets we're going to use for this video. Now we'll switch to the tools bar. On the side navigation over here, you'd find a bunch of tools, but we're only going to focus on the video tools, all 10 of them. The first tool is called Shader Effect, and this one was made by Google. With this tool, you can apply customizable filters to your media. When you open it, you'll find an interface that looks like this. Right under the interface, there is this message: Google Flow can make mistakes. This one's created by another person and may be inaccurate or unsafe. Then it says here that this app may consume some credits. You see, most of these tools don't consume credits, from my test at least. Before you can do anything here, you need to import content. So clicking the import button gives you the option to import from current project, import from your computer itself, or import from another project using this drop-down menu over here. This particular tool works for both videos and images. I'll select this video and click Add Media. So here is the filters panel with the list of filters. When you select one like this ghost filter, you see the effects previewing right here in the canvas. If you scroll down, you'd find options to modify it further. You can easily turn the filter's visibility on or off using this toggle switch here. If I select a new filter like zoom, for instance, this is what it looks like. Scrolling down reveals extra modifying options. You just have to play around with the sliders and try to get exactly what you want. Moving on to the right panel, you can replace your media here or reset everything you've done if you want to start from the beginning. Below that are general adjustment settings for saturation, contrast, highlight, shadows, and everything. You can even capture a frame with this tool. Let's say you've added all the effects and adjustments you need. You can pause at the particular point and capture the frame. It's going to save straight to your project gallery, not your laptop. Finally, you can export as an MP4 to save it to your gallery and then download it directly from your gallery to your laptop. You need to know that you cannot open multiple tools at the same time. You can see your active tool here on the left panel. As long as it is open, your progress is safe. However, if you close your browser tab or you refresh the page or you try to open a different tool, you will lose your progress. The same goes for the done button here at the top right. Clicking done does not save your project. You can't come back and continue from where you stopped. So always export your work before clicking done or switching to another tool. That's it for tool 1. Now the next tool is called Type Overlay, and this one was also made by Google. So with this tool, you can literally add animated text to your video. Opening it reveals a different interface from the first one, a preview canvas, a timeline for the text overlay, and then this right panel over here. To start, import media from your project, your computer, or a different project, whatever you want. I'll select this particular video and click on Add Media. Right under the Import Media button is your text field. Here, you can paste the text you want to overlay. You can add as many text layers as you want right below it. Moving down to the Design and Animate section, the Design tab handles your typography, the font, the weight, the size, line height, letter spacing, alignment, color, opacity, and then you can also position the text wherever you want on the screen using this particular section here. You must make sure the specific text layer you want to modify is selected first because you apply these changes separately for each layer. So when you're satisfied with the design, switch to the Animate tab. Again, ensure you select the right text layer first. You'll see a few transitions here like slide up. I'll click that. Let's preview. All right, it looks good. You can apply the animation by character, by word, or by line. By character, my opinion, is the best and the most beautiful, so you can use that. As you can see, there's also a smoothing option. We generally leave it at smooth for the best transition. Next is timing. So entrance is like the amount of time it takes to animate the full text in. 800 ms is usually perfect. So you can always add an exit animation as well, which we will set to 800 ms as well. Now let's delete the second layer to keep things organized. And I'll drag the first layer for the whole entirety of the timeline. When I preview this, it animates in, shows throughout the whole video, and animates out towards the end. There's another option here called kinetic. Kinetic is like a constant loop, meaning the text animates continuously. If I select wave, notice that the entrance and the exit options have disappeared. It is replaced by speed and amplitude. If I select this shuffle option here, I really love this one. It changes the typography across different letters at the same time. This works best with, character selected. And you can pretty much leave the smoothing at linear because it's like a frame by frame change, so you don't need any smooth transition. You can easily adjust the speed to make it switch faster or slower. This exact same process works for images too. When you're satisfied, of course, click render video. This process takes time depending on the video's length. So speaking of lengths, the maximum video length you can upload inside of Google Flow is 30 seconds. So the limit for using this text overlay tool is pretty much 30 seconds. Other tools to apply, 30 seconds max, which is very limiting in my opinion. The third tool is called Pixel Bento, created by this guy. This one lets you apply specific processing effects to your videos and images. When you open it, you see the media panel. You can select files from your project, your computer, or another project. Let's upload this landscape video. This tool is a little complicated to use, so we're going to break it down from scratch. On the left is your preview canvas where you can play, pause, drag the seek bar, or capture a frame. Up at the top right, you also have the option to replace your media. Moving to the right panel, you have a master toggle to switch to turn effects on and off. This is perfect for, seeing like a before and after. Next to that, the mix slider controls the overall intensity of the effects you apply. Now, for the effects, these naming conventions like Gurichu, Abi, Ritoro, they are pretty confusing. You can pretty much toggle them on and off and also overlay multiple effects on top of each other. To see more options, you will need to click on the effect name, which isn't obvious at all, but when you open the drop down, you can pretty much adjust presets and tweak the knobs to get the effects that you want. If you mess up, you can always click this reset button to go back to default. The different effects have different set of options for you to play around with. The confusing part about this tool is this record automation feature here, which lets you apply an effect to a specific part of the timeline. Honestly, the user experience here isn't nice. So let's say I want to add an effect at the 5-second mark. You click record automation, let the video play, and exactly when it hits 5 seconds, you turn on the effect and adjust it in real time. Any automations you add will show up right here in the active automation list, where you can easily remove them if you make a mistake. When you're completely done, of course, export to save it to your media. The next tool is Poster Designer. So this one is genuinely one of my best out of all of them. It was created by a couple of people and Google themselves, and it lets you create animated posters. When you open this up, you get a default text like this and a preview canvas, of course. If you look at the top right, you have options to upload media, export, or randomize things. So like, let's say you want to change the fonts, but you don't want to go through the stress of selecting a new font and changing the color. You can just click on this randomize button and it's going to change. Now you can just undo that right here. And you can also take a screenshot of your work with this button here. So at the bottom is a timeline. It works like a professional timeline, but it's actually very simple. You have your text layer here. You click on this plus, you can add a text layer, a media, or you can also add a solid layer, kind of like a ship. Click on it again to close it. Now for the canvas, if you click on it, you can choose the dimension you want. In this example, I'm going to choose 1:1, choose a background color. Now I want to import a video, so I'll click on this icon here and I will upload this animated shoot that I made inside of Flow. By default, the new video layer is on top, which is why you can't see the text anymore. To fix this, just select the text layer and click on this up icon button to take it to the top of the video. Now I'm going to select the video layer and make it fill the available space inside of the frame so there is no black background showing. Come over here to size and increase it till it fits like this. After that, you can position it with this position panel here. Very easy. If you have a subject, you can also use this extract subjects tool to remove the background. However, this doesn't work so well with videos. If you use it for a video, it just turns the video to an image and it doesn't play anymore. So just use this for images alone. Here, you can also change the opacity and the blend mode if you want a specific look. Let's work on the text. Click on the text layer. You can drag it and place it wherever you want, or use this position panel over here. This is where you can change the content. I'll write Nike Air. Under the design tab, you can change the fonts, you can change the weight, the size, letter spacing, line height, and rotation. Right now, it's aligned to the center. I'm going to make it aligned to the right. Then you can just click here and change the color. I'll make the color red and leave the opacity and the blend mode as is. If you're okay with how the text look, you can now go to the animate tab. You can choose any effect you want. I'm going to choose wave, which is a kinetic effect that happens continuously throughout the video. You can apply it by character, word, or line. For timing, I'll use smooth. You can also adjust the start time, duration, speed, intensity. You can also do that directly from the timeline itself. So if you don't want the text to show up until the first second, just drag the beginning of the clip to the first second. And if you want it to stop showing after 5 seconds, you can just do that as well. Let's have a quick preview. The fifth tool is called Video Sketch, and this one was made by Google again. It lets you animate drawings on top of your video. I like to use this particular tool to draw my viewers' attention to things that they might actually miss. So when you open it up, you have your preview canvas, a simple timeline under it. Let's quickly import a video. Before I sketch anything, let's look at this layers panel over here. You can add multiple sketch layers and text layers. Everything sits on one single timeline, which can be difficult to understand. I would have preferred overlapping, timelines like the one we have in poster design. You have to rely on the layers panel to select specific layers, but let's quickly delete these extra layers and leave just one. Before you draw anything, you want to make sure you lock in the stroke settings, because if you draw first, it's not possible to change the color later by clicking a different color. I'll use the actions tab to undo this. I'll select the whites, locking the width of the stroke at 10 and leave opacity at 100. You can use this button to bring the playhead to like the beginning of the timeline. So I'll draw over my eyes like this to bring attention to them. But when I play this, there's a problem. The sketch is still there even when the video plays, and it's no longer drawing attention to my eyes. So to fix this, I can pretty much just crop the layer on the timeline so the sketch disappears exactly when I want it to. Of course, you can go forward and animate this. While the sketch layer is selected, go to the effects tab. There are only 3 effects here for now. You can immediately see the preview of the effect. You can add a continuous effect like jitter, or you can choose drawing so it draws the sketch in real time. You can adjust the entrance and exit timing. Let's make both the entrance and exit 100 milliseconds. So if I play this, it animates in and animates out instead of just disappearing instantly. When you're done, you can pretty much just render the video with this button here. Now notice how there's a remix button above all the tools. Now what that lets you do is duplicate a tool that you're using. The original tool stays intact, don't get me wrong, but now you can duplicate it and you're now able to add features on top of it, or you can even remove features. Maybe you don't think you need a particular feature in this tool and it's obstructing you. You can use the remix tool to remove the feature. So if I click remix tool here, the name changes to remix of video sketch. You can easily rename it, edit the icon, and update the description right here. Over here is the tool builder area where you can prompt changes. So for video sketch tool, I want to get rid of the eraser option because I feel like I'll never use it, right? So I just prefer using the undo button. So I'll just type remove eraser option. It takes a little time, but when it's done, you'll see the eraser is completely gone. Beautiful. Apart from removing things, you can also add custom features. So let's say I want to add a slider to like smooth out my sketches. I'll just prompt add a smooth slider. Sometimes generated feature might run into bugs. What you want to do is just continue prompting until you get what you want. Now, as you can see, it's added the smooth slider. I can pretty much just drag this to 100% and draw a very low effort crooked circle, and it's going to automatically make the circle smooth for me. Now, this remix process works for all your existing tools, and you'll find your custom creations in the My Tools tab in the Tools page. You can also build entirely new tools from scratch by yourself. We'll talk about that in another video. Now, let's move forward. The 6th tool is called Transition Machine, and this is used to transition between clips. When you open the tool, you get the option to upload the clips you want to transition, clip 1 and clip 2. I'll upload the first clip from my gallery, and immediately I can see the first and the last frame of the clip. I'll go ahead and upload the second clip, And also the first and last frame of this clip is also displayed. Now this is so that you can see clearly the exact frames that the transition would happen. Now the tool will automatically generate a transition description prompt for you. You can go through it, and if you don't like it, you can as well just type the exact transition you want. So I'll paste this exact prompt here. You can go through it if you want. And I'm going to choose how long the transition will last. The shorter, the better. Then I'll click generate transition. Here's what the results looks like. Not perfect, but you get the idea. The next tool is called Weirdcore. This one is really cool. I like to play around with it. It lets you add certain effects to your videos. When you open it up, you immediately get the option to select a video. This doesn't work for images, just videos. I like that it immediately applies an effect. In this case, the fry effect. You can easily switch between them. This is what cutter looks like: smooth, tape, and drift. There are about 10 different effects to play with. For each effect you select, you can adjust certain things like the intensity. Just by playing around with these sliders, you can change a lot of things. Another thing I like about this tool is that you can overlap effects. You can pretty much add another effect on top of the current one. Right now, I have the drift effect, and I can add the cutter effect on top of it. If you're not sure what effects you use, there's also a random button here, a randomized button rather. If I click it, it automatically stacks and overlaps random effects for you. Now let me just remove all these effects and show you one I really like: the echo effect. You can use these effects to achieve a certain mode or even cover up an error in your generated video. So when everything is done, click render to save the video to your gallery and click done to close the tool. Now the next tool is called Video Resizer, and this one is pretty much self-explanatory. It lets you resize your videos. So you can use this tool, but I would advise you to do this in some other professional editing tools. It's way easier. I mean, right now, this current tool here has limits, like, of course, the length limits and all that stuff. So instead of wasting time doing this here, you can just do it in another tool. But in case you still want to do it here, all you have to do is open this up. You see like this very simple user interface. I'll import my media, and as you can see, the current dimension is 9 by 16. If you want to change that, come here to the output side, click on the dimension and change it to what you want. I'm going to change this to 1:1. That's like a perfect square. Now, of course, the whole thing is still looking weird. I want this video to take up the whole space inside of the frame. This is where the alignment option comes in. So I can choose fill, which literally fills up the available space with the video. Fits maintains the original video size, and then reset just goes back to the original uploaded file. If you need to swap the video, you can always replace the media here with this button. And when you're fine with how things are, just click export, and that is it for this tool. Now the next tool is called String Out Creator. This tool lets you join multiple clips together and add chapters in between them. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you open this tool, you'll be faced with this very simple interface. You can import from your project or upload directly from your computer. So I'll choose this upload option and select this video. Now don't let this confuse you. In this particular tool, you can upload 10 minutes videos, but exporting it is where the problem is, because it just will not work. So I think the maximum length overall should be 30 seconds before the export should be able to work. While the video is selected, you can change the aspect ratio on the right panel. Currently it's 16 by 9. For this video, I'm going to do 9 by 16. You can set the duration to full or custom. Right now, the custom duration is 0.4 seconds. So if I preview this clip, I'm only going to see 0.4 seconds of it. If I change the duration to full, I can play the entire video right here. Let's change this back to custom and use maybe 10 seconds. Now, let's say it's a chapter by chapter video you want to join together. You can actually add text chapters. So if I hover on the front of this first clip, I'll see this T option. I'll click on it, and by default, it adds the text chapter name. On the right, you see options for the text layer here. Change it to chapter 1 and adjust the font width, size, color, position, then go to the text duration to change how long the text displays before the clip. I'll make this 2 seconds. The text shows for exactly 2 seconds, and then the video shows for 10 seconds. I can hover in front of the first clip and click on this T again to add another chapter. So let's call this chapter 2. You can import a new clip, so your timeline looks like, chapter 1, then chapter 1 clip, then chapter 2, then chapter 2 clip. When you preview it, everything shows well. However, I've been running into issues whenever I try to export. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. And when it does work, it takes a lot of time to save to gallery. Honestly, if you want to stitch multiple clips together, using the normal editing tools or CapCut is probably the best option because it's way easier, it's faster, and it's more reliable. Okay, the next and the final tool is Video Granulator. This one is actually very nice visually, at least. It distorts your video in different kinds of ways. When you open it, the UI of this particular tool is super beautiful and unique. I like this retro style UI with the knobs. First, let's upload the video here. Right under the preview, you can stop, pause, play, and record. I'll come back to the record option in a bit. Over here, there's a toggle to either loop or boom. Loop basically means the video plays to the end and starts afresh. While boom, on the other hand, is literally the reverse of that. So like the video plays to the end and then goes back like it reverses. So that's the difference. On the right, you can pretty much upload new media. You can randomize things with this button, or you can reset to default. Under the Granulator tab, you can just play around with these knobs. This is going to affect basically the timing, the speed of the video. There's also a button here for reverse if you want to reverse the whole video. I don't know why you might want to do that, but yeah, it exists here. These knobs are a little hard to control with a mouse or a trackpad, I won't lie. Over on the audio effects tab, you can just work on the reverb, the room, delay, feedback. So if you want the unique audio effects with like, echo, you can play around with this particular tab here and the knobs here. And there's a slider here for gain as well. So if you want to add, that, you can add that as well. Under the visual effects tab, you can add extra visual effects. Now let's reset the default and yeah, but there's a problem with this tool, a major problem as a matter of fact, because there is no visible button to export what you've generated. So the record button is the actual export option. So if I click record, it records the whole thing and I have to wait till it gets to the very end before I click stop to save it to my gallery. But this effect is quite confusing. When the video saves to your gallery, sometimes it works, sometimes it just doesn't work at all. Some effects just don't record. Honestly, I think the tool is not ready to use. I don't see myself using this tool because it just makes everything laggy and slow. Out of all the tools, this is the one I would definitely not recommend or use at all, despite its amazing user interface. And that makes it the last tool. Honestly, I don't see myself using most of these tools because there are just a lot of things to factor in. They're amazing, don't get me wrong, but when you start to factor in the length limits and what they can actually do, using your native video editing softwares like CapCut or whatever tool you're comfortable with is just easier. Using all these tools here is kind of like more complicated. You have to cut clips, use certain durations, and exporting takes a lot of time in some cases. In fact, I think the only tools that are genuinely useful amongst the 10 of them are the shader effect and the poster designer tool. That brings us to the end of this video. Subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.